the weekly podcast where people reach their goals and develop confidence one mind shift habit at a time. Let's join our host, certified coach Christina.
Hello. This episode of Conversations with Coach is sponsored by Christina Callaway Life Coaching LLC. I'm pleased to announce I will be releasing my first book about overcoming perfectionism a little later this year. There will be information in the show notes where you can support my efforts. If this is your first time joining Conversations with Coach, welcome. Happy New Year. I think we can still say that. I feel like the first 3 months of the year still relatively part of the new year. I am your host, certified mindset and confidence coach, Christina Callaway. I partner with athletes, parents, coaches, and organizations, and together we develop the tools to increase confidence and achieve goals both on and off the field of play. Thank you for joining. A year goes by in the blink of an eye now. And most recently, I celebrated 1 year of doing this very podcast. And when I started doing reflections and going back and looking at the footage from the first few months and where my growth is now, it has been a lot of growth. And that's what happens with time. We don't really notice the incremental changes that take place until we take the time to step back and reflect. And that's what this episode of Conversations with Coach is all about. I have brought back one of my very first guests on Conversations with Coach, and he has been gracious enough to rejoin me here and tell me what he's been doing in the last year. Before I bring him out, I just want to share a little bit of information about him. And when I start talking, those of you that have been following me, you're probably going to be like, I know exactly who she's talking about. But for those of you that it's your first time, let me just give you a little bit of information. And I do mean very little because he's going to share more when he comes out. My guest is a fitness coach, a movement therapist. He is the CEO of Body by Coach Fitness, LLC, and he is the founder of the Fitness Ranch, Incorporated. He's also a political advocate. Without further ado, put some love in the chat and help me welcome back our guest, Coach Q Pullen. Hey, Coach Q.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, congratulations on your 1 year at this point. It's podcasting is a journey, man. It's you're always learning different things about yourself, and as well as your guests. So, it's congratulations to sticking to it and continuing to grow.
Thank you so much. And you are absolutely right. It is definitely a labor of love. It is not for the faint of heart. There were moments in there where I was wondering, do I keep doing this? Do I continue to do this? And of course, obviously the answer was yes. We have those things that go through our minds sometimes of the doubt, like, is this helping anyone or anything like that? And what I came to when I asked that question, is this helping anyone? I was able to answer it emphatically, yes. The one person it's helping is me. Yeah. And if others are benefiting, then that's all the better.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a quote that if something that you're doing is at least helping one person, then it's effective, And so listen, I listen to you and I've seen your growth with the way that you interview, the topics that you have on, and just being a host. And so congratulations with that on your accomplishments, man. And I'm looking forward to this interview. I'm looking forward to catching up with you and talking about what we have going on and what you have going on and things like that.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Coach Q. I appreciate that encouragement. I appreciate your kind words. Growth is a beautiful thing when we are open to it. And you did just a great segue into the first quarter. And I did a really tiny, minuscule overview of who Coach Q is. I would like for you to do a better job at it. Introduce yourself to us.
It's people get tied up on titles. And for me, I do so many different things. It's hard to say that you are this one thing. But
Mhm.
in the grand scheme, I help people optimize their lives, and it is the fitness aspect, it is the mindset aspect, it's nutrition, it is the involvement in the community, it is doing things and accomplishing things that you didn't realize that you absolutely could. So
Right.
that's why I say life optimizer, because a
Yeah,
lot of people
love
come
that.
to me and they want this change in their lives, but they don't know how to do it. So I am
Mhm.
that facilitator that says, okay, let's look at where you are right now, and we're going to take an evaluation of you at this level, and we're going to take you from this level, and we're going to give you a shift. And
Yeah.
that shift is, we're trying to influence positive change in a person, to
Yeah.
have them at least, like, I read a book a while back, and it was about it's called 10% Happier, by Dan Patrick, and he's
I haven't read that one.
10%, right?
Mhm.
10%. If you make a 10% incrementally change for the better in your life, let's say you're at 40%, right? Now
Yeah.
you're at 50%. Your life got 10% better. Now it's more better than it is worse, right? So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that
yeah.
10% shift is such a good thing. And so that's what I work on, small incremental changes with people in different facets of their life, to help them become better people.
I love it. I absolutely love it. You reminded me actually of a book that I read not too long ago, and it's entitled Tiny Habits. I
Yes.
think Fogg is the last name. I can't remember the
Okay.
first name,
Hmm.
but it's Tiny Habits, and it's the same premise of hitting your goals by making small incremental changes. To your point, sometimes when we set the goal, it's as if the goalpost is so far away, it becomes overwhelming. And this
Absolutely.
book talks about exactly what you're talking about, just taking one tiny habit and stringing a bunch of them together to help you to get to the goal, so it's more manageable. And I really appreciate you sharing that. Now,
Mhm.
when you first came on over a year ago, oh my gosh, you know what? It's been well over a year ago, because
Yeah.
you came on, I believe it was December of 2021. So
21. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so it's
Jeez.
been well over a year ago. But you when I had you on there, what drew me to you was me following you on social media and watching the
Mhm.
fitness part of what it is that you do. Now,
Yes.
I mentioned that in the intro, that we're still in the first quarter of this new year, and it's still that new year, new me type of energy.
Yeah.
Although right about now it's starting to wane a little bit.
Well,
Talk to us a little bit about that.
here's what I love. Mindset, right? For those
Mm,
people who are actually shifting in mindset, it's not waning for them. For those people who have these short-term goals of, like, I started running a promotion in December, like right after New Year's. It's kind of a Black Friday, all of
mhm,
December thing, and it was called a
mhm.
Now Year's resolution.
I
And
love
so
it.
the premise was, don't wait until New Year's to do something, right? About what
Yes.
to try to reach your goal, because look, tomorrow's not promised to anyone. So if you don't
Oh,
do something
no, it's not.
today, you could drop dead tomorrow. But if you
Yeah.
start doing that thing to try to help you be healthier, to try to reach that goal that you set for yourself, that you said, I'm going to do this later. If you start doing that thing right now. So we started this Now Year's resolution program, and we got people interested in it. I also started in November a weight loss challenge, to keep people that were coming to see me for fitness engaged through the holiday season, so that they didn't
Oh,
see
wow.
this increase in weight. Because look, I did an interview, and we were talking about the fact, and this was news to me, that December and January are the 2 months of the most heart attacks and strokes. And I was like,
Yeah,
well,
I
why?
read that.
And it's because people fall off their normal routine, and
Mhm.
they are sleeping less because they're going out to celebrations. They're eating
Yeah.
more off their normal routine. And so, and then the stress of the holidays, I mean, financial stress and all those things. So people
Mhm.
have more heart attacks and strokes during December and January. And I'm like, wow, man. So I figured for myself, let me do something about that to help people's minds stay on the goal of fitness. How do you keep yourself in line with what your goal is? And I had this conversation with my wife, and we were talking about
Mhm.
people's fitness goals, and how fitness is not a short-term goal.
Right.
If you sit there and you say, I need to lose weight, it's because you're overweight. But one of the questions that I ask people is, because, people want to swipe left and, lose 50 pounds.
Yes.
That's not the thing. It's okay. I ask people this question and they give me this blank stare. They say, how quickly can I lose X amount of pounds? And I say, well, how quickly did you put that weight on? Yes, it's because that's the commitment that you're going to have to give me for yourself to lose that. Now, the caveat is that it normally takes half the amount of time to lose the weight that you put on over years. But if you've been managing yourself at 20 to 30 pounds overweight for years, right? My next question is, how long do you think is going to take you to get to your goal? Okay. And once you admit that question, answer that question, you say, okay, well then give me that commitment. And I promise you, I promise
love it.
And the word is commitment, right? Give me that commitment. And I promise you, you will reach your goal.
I love it. I love all the little nuggets of mindset shift and just a way of rephrasing the questions, the doubts, the lack of commitment is through the powerful questioning. It's just like you said, it's not magical. It's not like we swipe and then all of a sudden it disappears. If you could make it do that, you and I would be having a whole different conversation on this episode.
For sure.
For sure. Now, you mentioned some things about an introduction right after Thanksgiving of a new challenge. And then you mentioned some other things. So what else is new with Coach Q?
Well, the cool thing is this. We have been in Fayetteville now for, we moved in August of 21. So, we've got almost a year and a half here in business and growing at our facility. So we're running a pretty solid business now. We've got a steady stream of clientele coming in. Our business is a multifaceted thing, which is wellness. Wellness in itself is not just, a lot of people when you talk about fitness, they think it's just working out. Well, it's my wife's a chef, so we have the food thing handled. We have a garden here, so we grow and we cook farm to table.
Nice.
So we have the nutrition handle. We have the fitness part. We have a 1,000 square foot private facility here, and then we have the physical fitness clinic here. So we're doing things like I like the things you break it, we fix it, right? So there are a lot of people who are in pain, and so my take on it is if you are in pain, you're not going to be functional. So the first thing that I do is to help people get out of pain,
Nice.
Because at trying to load a person who is in pain is only exacerbating their injury. It's going to come back. It's going to manifest worse than if you fix that injury and then start peppering in the strength training, because a strong body is a stable body, and a stable body goes for a long way, So those are the things that we've been doing down here, and it's been really cool. And one of my passion projects is, and we'll talk about this. We launched a nonprofit, and right now I built an obstacle course in California, and so that's another phase of fitness. We started working on our obstacle course here in Fayetteville back in November, and this thing is come along. It's come along so well. We're going to have a grand opening, a VIP opening in March, so that we can launch it in the spring.
A few weeks.
Yeah.
Just in a few weeks. Yeah.
So this thing when I did it in California, I did it in partnership with someone, but we have 4 acres, and so I decided to take 1.5 acres of land, clear out a trail through there, and make a military style obstacle course. Which I was shocked when I Googled it here in Georgia that there was nothing like that. I was like, well, wait a minute,
not open to public use. I might say there might be some semblance of some things. Private use or organizational use.
Exactly. And so what we're doing is in the military, they call it the confidence course. And so when people do that obstacle course, it is a way to build confidence in adults and kids. And so when you do something that you didn't think you could do, mainly a 15-foot rope climb, a 15-foot cargo net, jumping over a log or something that you did not think that you can do, but you see that now you have the skills. That opens your world up to a whole different thing of
Oh,
wellness. You know?
yes, it does.
Yes.
Yes, it definitely does. I remember last summer,
Mhm.
because when you were here in December of 2021, you talked about one of your goals was to start a camp, offer a camp that upcoming summer of 2022. And I
Yeah.
remember watching you on social media, and I remember seeing the first group, the inaugural group of campers there at
Yes.
the
Yes.
fitness ranch. And I watched how that grew. And of course, we were still kind of 1 foot in the pandemic, 1 foot kind of coming out. We were sliding around back and forth, like, is it over? Oh, maybe it's not. Is it?
Yeah.
But I saw the growth in that. And as you talk about the course building, I love how you show the pictures on you all. He's actually doing this work. When he just casually mentions how he cleared off an acre and a half, he didn't bring somebody in there and do that. He and his wife are doing the thing, and it has been
Yes.
phenomenal to watch. And so congratulations with that.
Thank
I
you.
know
Thank you.
we have summer of 2023 coming up, and you've got you're going to be launching in a few weeks in March,
Yeah.
officially opening. Tell me some more about the nonprofit, the fitness, and tell me also, do you have plans on opening it up for team building for organizations or athletic teams to do team building on this
Oh
course?
man, you're trying to steal everything I want to talk about over here.
Sorry.
No,
That's my
no.
job. I'm the host.
So I want to rewind just a touch about our inaugural summer camp. And
Okay.
I'm not one to brag. That's not my MO, but I was so proud of the kids that came out and did this thing because look, there are I will use myself as a personal reference. When I grew up here in Atlanta, I could not think about. I never went to a farm.
Right.
I never went on hikes. I never
Right.
did a fitness program. None of that stuff when I was growing up. And so our summer camp, we like to work with small groups of kids to influence. I mean, we couldn't think about having 20, 30 kids here at one time because there's a lot of kids to handle for just the
It
two
is.
of us. But we had 10 kids, and each one of our kids in the summer camp, the average weight loss between each kid was 10 pounds.
Wow,
You know,
that is
yeah,
huge.
and we fell back to the presidential physical fitness test where they had to run a mile. And the very first day that the kids came, no one, well, only I think one kid could run a mile. You know, by the end of the summer camp, every single kid could run a mile. They were doing squats. They all passed the presidential physical fitness test and that weight loss thing. And then here's the beauty of it. Here's the way that we did our summer camp. We have a little lake pond here on the property. So every
Yep.
morning they would come in and we did what we call a talk circle. The talk circle was about communication, but we also peppered in
Nice.
meditation with that so that these kids could talk about whatever they want to. They got comfortable talking with other people and being vocal. So we would go from our talk circle to their morning fitness routine. So they would do a workout
Wow.
for an hour. And then after the morning fitness routine, they would do their studies. My wife's a tutor as well. So they would
Okay.
start doing their classwork because we wanted them to be prepared for the next school year, especially coming off of a pandemic where they were
Oh
doing virtual
yeah.
learning and our kids fell so far behind, So we
Yeah.
wanted to catch them up. And we talk about mindset. Think about this. Everybody loves adulation, So
Mhm.
when a kid goes to school and they feel like they're the smartest kid in the class
Come
because they're
on.
prepared, that mindset just
Yes.
starts to blossom. And so the tutoring, the fitness stuff, all that stuff that we were doing with these kids, and now we're following them through their school year, and they're
Yeah.
all doing so well. So that's. Let me tell you what we gathered from that. We said, okay, so this summer, 23, we're going to do our summer camp for kids, but we're
Yeah.
also going to do a summer camp for adults.
Really?
Yes, because think of it, when you go to work, right?
Yeah.
We get off work in the summer and it's still nice outdoors.
It is.
So why not come and do something like a fitness routine, a meditation circle, run an obstacle course, tend to a garden, do all these things that takes you away from that escape of I just got done working on a job. Some people work a job that they don't even like, So let us
Yeah.
get you in a different mental space where you can actually start being a lot more effective, So these are some of the
That
things
is
that we
so
have.
exciting.
Oh my God. When we moved home to Atlanta, I said, look, we want to be a facilitator of change and impact in our community. If you look at our website, thefitnessranch.org, it says it's a community-minded project, right?
Yeah.
And so we take that seriously. We want to affect our community in a way that is positive, that everyone wants to be involved and wants to thrive instead of not talking to each other, not knowing your neighbors and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's good. I mean, affecting that young generation towards a positive life and positive mindset. It's not too late for adults,
It's not.
So everything that we're doing, we're trying to elicit change and for the better,
That is so wonderful. That is exciting to hear. Congratulations on the inaugural camp. I said, I'm a huge fan. I was watching. I couldn't wait for you all to post something. I saw the cooking classes that that your wife was doing with them. Everybody had the biggest smile on their face. Like to your point, the education that was going on in a fun, unique way. And that, I'm sure, was the most memorable part of the camp for those.
Yeah. I mean, we did campers. When you and I were in school, we still had home economics, wood shop, auto shop thing. So what we did was say, okay, well, let's get back to some of those things with our kids.
Yeah.
Oh, we taught them how to cook. We taught them how to, they made their own bug spray. They made cloths. Nice. They made different crafts and stuff like that. So the camp was very, very involved. And, if anybody's listening, this is a nonprofit. This first inaugural thing, we self-funded mostly. We were passionate about getting it going, because I tell everybody the first step to you starting is to actually start. So my wife and I sucked it up and we're like, listen, we want to be that change, and so let's go ahead and take some of our own money and dump it. I mean, we're just buying this house, and so we're like, look, we're going to do these things that we told people we're going to do. So let's start. We'll figure it out as we go, and we'll grow it. We'll shape it. We'll form it. We'll have ideas of how to do it better, Yeah. And so for this next year, one of the things that we want to do, besides the upschool courses, we need to get a trailer so that we can have our kids have a classroom setting that has AC and things like that. We're actually trying to connect with the county with some other resources for underprivileged kids so that they can.
What county are you in?
We're in Fayette County,
You're in Fayette County. Okay.
Yes,
I'm trying to think if I know of anyone.
Well,
with me on my 9-to-5 job working in local government, I'm sure that we can probably talk off camera, and maybe I can connect you with some individuals. If they're not in your county, they can maybe tell you who in your county can help.
Absolutely.
I'm also sure that if somebody's out there that happens to write grants, and with these different initiatives that this ranch is doing, reaching those who are in an economic bracket that they would fit in.
There's a big donate button on the first page of our website that people can hit. And I tell you, I actually hired a grant writer online to try to help us do this. And, there are a lot of people online that will take advantage, and so we got taken advantage of. And so it was kind of a kick in the pants, but it doesn't deter me. I'm still out there trying to spread that positive message and be involved. And so, so that's what's been going on with the fitness ranch, man. This thing is, it's a blessing. I often feel my Father's presence, when I am doing this good work, because my father was a pastor, and so he was about those things, So I can feel his presence of good job, son, and go ahead and keep growing this thing,
Absolutely. You are definitely, you and your wife both are doing an amazing job. Anybody that's following me, that you are a person of integrity and you have the gift of grant writing, or someone that you can vouch for that does, at the end, when we do the call to action, you're going to get the information on how to reach out to Coach Q and his wife to help with the fitness ranch. I believe and honor everything that you're doing. I do want to ask you, before we segue to our final segment, Tell me a little bit more about this adult camp idea that you have, because I'm thinking as an adult, when I get off work, I have a finite amount of time that I have to like delegate out for different things. And I can imagine a person who has kids is like, how am I going to devote every day of a week for camp? I'm sure it's not your traditional form of camp. So explain it to us.
It's not traditional. But like we don't want, like I said, everything that we do is not just based around working out, right? So we do want to see people on a daily basis, because I believe that creating habits, is the way to create change, right? So we're thinking of doing the workouts on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and that will be anywhere from 45 to an hour,
Right.
But on other days, we're going to do meditation. We want to get the, adults involved with, okay, what can we do in the community? Because it's not just about coming here to do, let's get you out. Let's go spend an hour in the community doing something positive, And then I know you said about having kids. One of the things that we did in our summer camp for kids is we gave them homework assignments on a daily basis. And the homework wasn't academic. It was, what did you do for your parents today? We want you to go. We want you to go home and do something for your parents today, and ask them, "What can I do to make your life easier today?"
Nice.
And the very first week, some of the parents came in and go, "What did you tell our kids?" Because they came home wanting to do some chores, and they're not usually that way. I go, "Here's what I said to them. I go, I'm going to check with your parents to see if you did what we assigned you to do, and if you didn't, there's going to be burpees for you to be doing, right?" And so they were like, "Oh no, Coach King, we don't want to do burpees." But okay, well, so they were washing dishes, helping fold laundry, taking out trash, and doing all the other things that kids are supposed to do, right?
Yes.
But that makes it easier for when the kid goes home to a parent and says, "Hey, can I help you with this thing?"
Right.
And look, I was 8 years old in the kitchen with my mother, learning how to cook. So our kids are no different right now. So at 8 years old, hey, go in the kitchen with your parents. Go learn how to cook. Go show them what Coach Norris showed you how to cook today. You know, and get involved that way. So when we say community minded, right?
Right.
Adults and kids make up our community. It's not just one of the other. So community minded means all of us are doing this thing.
Wow, you are doing some amazing things. I hope that you all are paying attention, taking notes, sharing this. I'm going to share his website for him as a fitness instructor, but as well as for the ranch, because we are already having to think, even though it's the end of February, we are already having to think about summer things, the camps, the etc. And I know in my area, summer camp registration starts the third weekend in March. And for some people, they do it the first weekend in March. And make sure when you are figuring, if you live anywhere near the Atlanta area, if you live anywhere near Fayetteville, this is a camp that you want your kids in. And you already heard him say that he's got limited slots because they've got to build it up to where they can staff it. Having said that, if you are an individual and you would like to volunteer a week of your time to help he and his wife staff and work with these kids, make sure you reach out to him, because again, it's about the community and all.
Yes. And then, okay, so one more thing that I'm going to bring up with the fitness ranch. We are launching now this is for adults. This is not for kids. We're having a fitness experience. Okay. And so we have a guest suite at our place here. So people can check in on a Friday, and they're going to get an exclusive, really like high end, where they get the fitness training, they get the therapy, they get the meals. We have a pool, we have paddle boards and kayaks and things like that. We're doing hiking and all kinds of things, all packed in one weekend, right? So you're going to be getting a full-on fitness experience, and so we're gonna have that up on our site so that people can start booking this fitness experience this Friday, Saturday, and half a day on Sunday. And so you get to come down and stay on property and do all these things, and it's like an escape. And I didn't mention, but we have a little goat petting zoo now too.
Oh my gosh, you all have been doing so much. I'm so super proud of you. When we
Thank you,
say 1
thank
year
you.
later, whoo, my goodness,
Yes, yes,
we are
yes,
talking about all the things. They were not sitting on their laurels at all. And that just sounds, that brings a whole nother meaning and view of Airbnb and a
yeah,
getaway for the
exactly.
weekend.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, are
yes,
you
yes,
kidding? That is phenomenal. So as the spring is coming up and going into summer, and you're looking for something different to do, to celebrate an anniversary, to celebrate yourself, to relax, to
absolutely.
get away, you all
Yes.
need to be doing this fitness excursion
Uh-huh.
and just talk with them about customizing it. It's your weekend that you are setting aside for yourself, and they want to make
Absolutely.
sure that they are serving you in the way that you want to be served for that weekend. Now, we mentioned earlier, we're still in that first quarter of the new year. Talk to us about New Year's fitness.
Ooh. New Year's fitness. Well, so I had a client text me today and I was
Mhm.
like, wow, she's been working with me now for about 3.5, almost 4 months. And she's never had a fitness program that she's actually stuck to. She says she's been to things like Weight Watchers and done the meals and things like that. And she goes, I've tried to lose 10 pounds for the last 10 years. And she goes, you got me to lose 10 pounds in the first month. She goes, and I haven't gained it back. And so I realized that um, this is part of my life now. And so I look forward to it. So I look forward to doing this just like I look forward to doing my job and other things in my life. And so
Mhm,
I said,
mhm.
okay, well, I don't like I I told you we started the Now Year's resolution back in
Yeah,
end of November,
yeah.
but I don't like uh, New Year's resolutions
I don't either.
because most people fail at those things.
They
It's
do.
too much pressure,
Yep,
and so I'm always in the now, right?
yep.
You hear people talk about living in the moment and doing
Mhm.
things. I always say, why wait to do something that you can absolutely start doing right now? And this lesson came hard for me because I congratulations on you. You said you're going to be launching your book. I
Yeah,
have been sitting on this idea, and I think we talked about this last time about writing a book,
you
but
did.
I did not know how to start, right?
Right.
And
Mhm.
here I am telling people, you just start, right? You just start. And I'm just like, well, how? So I started watching a TED talk on writing a book. And the guy
Mhm.
goes, the first stage is to start and just to write a mind map of things that you want to talk about. And I
Mhm.
was like, cool, right? So I got this big pad and I started taking the ideas that I've been talking to people about for a long
Yeah.
time and just throwing them on paper. And then, I'm not the type that will sit in front of a computer and just type out something for
No,
hours
right.
at a time because I get
Yeah.
bored. I get
Yeah,
bored
yeah,
with
yeah.
that screen, that monotonous just tap, tap, tap. So the guy says the greatest thing is using your voice and notes to talk out your book.
Exactly.
And I was
Yep.
like, what? So
Yeah.
it, it makes it so easy,
It
It
definitely
makes it so easy.
does.
So you can get
I
the
know, that's the
first script
process I
of
use.
yeah, you can get the first script of your book like that,
Like
and
that.
all it is just starting, And so I
It's
was like,
just
wow.
starting. You're
And so
absolutely right.
and we have these stories and things that we relate to
Yeah.
chapters and topics in our book, and we
Right.
tell them to people all the time. And so
Mhm.
one of the things that I started doing was when I started having these conversations with people, I said, hold on a second. I hit record on that. And so now I'm having this conversation and it's recording what I'm saying because
Right.
it's a free flow of ideas, and that
Mhm.
can go in there at some point. You can edit and put this thing in there. And so, man, that's one thing. So starting, man, I with New Year's fitness, I don't, if you've done your research, and gyms are really good at this. When people
Mhm.
go to buy a gym membership, they've already made a decision that they're going to get a gym membership. You just have to give them the right deal
Yep.
or have the right conversation with them to actually
Yes.
get started. And so
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where when people come to see me, we talk, we do an assessment, we do all these things, and I say, okay, let's look at the calendar and let's put a date on here when you're going to
Yeah.
start, right? Because if you
Yeah.
don't put a date on the calendar right now, then we're going to still be having this conversation next year or 10
Next
years
year.
from now when you want to lose that 10 pounds, because you haven't really committed your mind to say that I'm going to do that thing, So
Right.
when it comes to New Year's fitness,
Mm-hmm.
it is a life change. It's a life shift. I
Mm.
know that I don't feel good all the time, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I want to feel better. I want to feel good all the time. So let me come to you for the education on how to do that thing,
Right.
And I've taken my fitness has evolved so much over the years. When I was younger, I used to be that boot camp coach that looked forward to making people sore. And I had an
Mm.
athlete once tell me he had a bad game and it was all my fault. And I was like, well, what do you mean it's my fault? I did my job. I got you ready for the. No, I was
Mm.
so sore that I couldn't shoot. So that's your fault. And I was like, oh. And so
Oh.
I talked to the coach that I use for mentoring. He said, look, professional athletes have to get better in the off season. They have to get
Mm-hmm.
better during the season. And it's your
Yeah.
job to do both of them for them, or they're going to go find someone else. So the
Yep.
best thing that you can do is bring them to a point where they feel good,
Yeah.
feel good about the work that you've done, and then go play, right?
Go
Because when
execute.
you feel,
Mm-hmm.
yes, ma'am, so when you feel good, and that's the thing, and that's the thing that I do with my training is I tell
Mm-hmm.
people, how do you feel?
Mm.
How do you feel? In 30 days, if you don't feel better, well, let's evaluate why you don't feel better. But I tell
Exactly.
you are going to, if I see you consistently,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to start feeling better because you've gone from sitting on your couch doing nothing every single day to at
Yep.
least doing something twice a day. I mean, twice a
Exactly.
week,
Right.
and then that
Right.
twice a week over a month, now you got 8 workouts that you've done. You're going to tell me that's not
Yes.
going to facilitate some change. And now here's the other thing. Why don't you go out and start walking every day? All right.
Mm.
Because that's something you hadn't been doing either. So when people talk to me about New Year's fitness, what I tell them is let's create some habits for you that will fit into your life,
Yeah.
the way that your life is, but be willing to sacrifice and not make excuses for the things that you've been doing this whole time, because the
Yeah.
things that you've been doing this whole time got you exactly where you are right now.
Yeah. It's not
You
working
know,
for her. How's that working for you? Pretty
right.
much.
It
Yeah.
got you exactly where you are right now,
Yeah.
good or bad,
Yep.
And so if you want improvement, you have to do something different,
Different. Yeah.
something
And
different.
what is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
saying that they say? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and
Over,
expecting a
it's
different
been
result.
yes,
Exactly.
absolutely.
I am so
Absolutely.
proud and happy for you, for your wife, for your nonprofit, for all of the people that are going to come through it. I know that from time to time you get a group together and you all go hiking on Sunday mornings. And I know before we came out, you're like, I was hoping that we were going to get you to join us. Trust and believe, if I didn't live as far away from you as I do, you would
Well,
see me very regular. It
listen.
is,
So what we'll do is we'll book a weekend for you to come up and stay and then enjoy the experience. And then you can talk about it with people and go, look what I did, And so I mean, I get chills just thinking about it because I've been through something like that. And
right.
these are experiences that I've had as a coach and as a purveyor of fitness and wellness that I can say,
Yeah.
oh man, this was a great experience. That would be something tailored to what I think is beneficial or what I
Yes.
would, shift a little bit in those programs. And so I'm going to offer that to people, And so I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to doing that because, and here's the other thing. You get to have conversations with my wife and I.
Yeah, exactly. Pick
You
your
know,
brains on
we
some
have
things.
a
Yeah.
fire pit down by the lake. So in the
Hmm.
evenings, nice summer nights, we sit out by the fire pit. We have conversations. We have people, friends of ours that come over now, and we just sit there and we talk about how to change the world.
Yeah. Yeah,
And so yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
That is so good. Coach Q, thank you so much for coming back and for sharing and catching us up. And I'm looking forward to another year and hearing even greater things
I
about
know.
for you to come back and share that here about the ranch and
Yes.
beyond.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
just your launching ground. So continue great success. I'm going to take you up on that,
Okay.
having a weekend
Absolutely.
for myself up there, just so that I can
Yeah.
see for my and with my own eyes and not just through your wonderful pictures, but I want to have that immersive experience. So I'm definitely going to take you all up on that. Yeah. Everybody that follows me knows that I do a call to action, and this is going to not be any different than that. I've been sharing with you all of the good stuff that he and his wife are doing in their fitness business, as well as their nonprofit, the Fitness Ranch. I want you to go and follow him immediately after this episode ends. I want you to follow him on all of his platforms, his Instagram, Facebook, his LinkedIn. And I also want you to visit his website. He has two. He has a website for the Fitness Ranch, and he also has one for his fitness business. And you can go and follow him there. Definitely share the fitnessranch.org website with your family and friends. Use that donate button. It's the beginning of the year, and most people they don't start thinking about donating to nonprofits until the end of the year. Let's do a mindset shift with that.
Yes.
Coach Q, are you registered on the state of Georgia's nonprofit list?
We are absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Add the Fitness Ranch as your nonprofit that you want to make a donation to on a regular basis each month.
Yes.
And together as a community, whether you're near or far, we're going to help change the world one child at a time and one fitness mindset at a time. It's just like we say, it's the tiny habits that we form that help to bring about the shifts that we desire. Now, Coach Q, you know this from time before. I do have final thoughts with all of my guests. And when it comes to just fitness, setting goals, starting things that are hard, like the nonprofit, just doing the things. Mm-hmm. What is your one mindset shift that you want to leave with the audience as it relates to that? Just getting started.
Getting started is as easy as taking a step with your feet, right? I on a daily basis, we get out of bed every day. So we start our day just by getting out of bed, right? So some of the habits that I look forward to in my life, I read, I read on a daily basis. Education is key in life, and you can learn so many different things by if I always say this, every single thing that you want to know, all you got to do is Google it, and there's going to be a subject, there's going to be some information about that thing. So don't limit yourselves on the information that you take in, and decipher that information for the good, not for the bad.
Absolutely. That's perfect. Again, everyone, it's all about the tiny steps. It's all about being committed to your own personal growth through education, through the experience of trying different things, as well as allowing others to impact your life. And Coach Q, you and your wife definitely are those impactors. You are life impactors. We appreciate you all so much. Keep doing what you're doing. And thank you again for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And there we have it. This has been a wonderful episode for the first quarter of the new year, just to get you motivated. I mean, with all the exciting stuff that he and his wife have going on that ranch, I'm ready to be there tomorrow. Definitely make sure you check out him on his social media that I shared with you, but don't worry, it's going to live in the show notes. So if you're like, wait, I didn't catch it, I didn't get it, it's okay. You'll be able to get it from the show notes. And I appreciate you so very much for following me on all of my social media, for helping me to make it beyond this 1 year that I've been doing this. And it still blows my mind that I think about it, because I started this out with just out of fear. Like, I don't like appearing in front of camera and all of that. And look at where I'm at now. I don't even think twice about it. So if you are new to me and you don't know where to follow me on my social media, there it is for you. I've made it pretty easy. It's Christina Mindset Coach. And maybe you're an athlete, parent of an athlete, coach, or an organization, and you're wanting to help your gymnast to overcome that perfectionism. Maybe it's your gymnast. Maybe it's another sport that your athlete is participating in, but their need for perfectionism is hampering their ability to be able to move forward, increase their confidence, and achieve their goals. I want you to visit me on my website, select the free clarity call, and let's just have a conversation. Let's figure out where and how we can partner. I appreciate you all so very much for joining me. And remember, your life is only as good as your mindset. Make it a great one.
Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Coach. Please be sure to follow Coach Christina on all of her social media platforms. And remember, Life is only as good as your mindset.